Hello and welcome to the I've Seen Everything Reaction Wrap-Up. My name's Andrew and I'm glad to have you here with me. This is where I share my thoughts, rating, and review following my most recent reaction or watch-along video. To find these reaction and watch-along videos, please visit @SeenEverything over on YouTube. Please be sure to click the follow button here on the podcast, and for those listening on Apple Podcasts, a rating and review would be greatly appreciated. And now, on to this episode's wrap-up for Doctor Who, Season 1, Episode 5, Dot and Bubble. This is the wrap-up for Episode 5, Season 1, Doctor Who, Dot and Bubble. I don't know what I'm going to be able to edit that into. It had a lot of stuff about relying on technology. And then we descended into this kind of class hierarchy, arrogance stuff. I thought she was basically being racist toward the Doctor. I'll learn framing one day. Let's frame back this way. That was my least favorite episode. That said, I think it was a very creative episode, but it was my least favorite. It was infinitely frustrating. There was no redeemable qualities about our protagonist. I don't even remember her name. She was completely self-absorbed. She was a bad person even beyond just like the limitations of growing up completely reliant on technology. She sacrificed the person who saved her life, even though, she idolized him. It shows you how quick you shift gears on something like that. I feel like there's important messages in there. I feel like the episode was incredibly frustrating because it was from her point of view. I understand why it was from her point of view, because that, like the original setup, I got a little more. That is the horror of it, to speak to especially younger people who are very reliant on technology, but all of us are reliant on technology to one degree or another, about how technology can completely consume you to where you wouldn't even be able to see this stuff happening next to you, and to where you wouldn't even be able to do the most basic things like walk. They had someone telling them when to pee because they couldn't determine it themselves. That was an interesting setup. I am not somebody who goes around complaining about kids being on their phones. I think this was a good example of why your protagonist at some point has to have some redeeming quality. Like, even if she started out as a self-absorbed bad person, at some point that has to change. Otherwise, you leave an audience feeling like I felt just now. But I would be surprised if other people came out of this feeling good. It feels like it just went bad and then cut off. There was no real resolution, except for the Doctor having to accept the frustrating reality that some people just don't want to and can't be saved, that they won't listen to you and accept the reality of what you're trying to tell them, no matter what it is you're trying to tell them. Even after she insulted him to his face, he was still just saying, say whatever you want to me, insult me, think whatever you want of me, think horrible things about me, but let me save you. You're just going to go die. And they can't even walk without their bubble properly. How are they going to survive out in the wilderness? How did this race of people, these versions of humans, survive all this time anyway? I mean, I guess it was their technology, the dot thing, that was doing everything, and it eventually killed them. I guess maybe I answered my own question. At some previous generation built technology sufficient enough that it basically took over doing all the work. They sat there and did work for 2 hours a day. I can't imagine their work was actually worth that much. It is a creative concept for an episode. Part of what I had said in the past about how I determine what I would want to rate something is, yes, my level of enjoyment, but also what were the people who made this trying to do, and did they achieve that? Which makes you ask the question in this case, what were they trying to do? And maybe that wasn't completely clear to me. You're used to maybe Doctor Who episodes satisfying in a certain way, but at the same time, you also want new and different stories. So what were they trying to do? Yes, you can have a story like this, a world like this, people absorbed in technology like this, monsters, all that kind of stuff. The general way to think about it is, oh, these people are under attack. These are the people we're following, that we're siding with, that we're sympathizing with. We want them to make it. We want them to get out. I feel like now, after thinking about it a little bit, the purpose of this episode was to make the audience feel as frustrated as the Doctor felt at the end. After his last plea to them to let him save them, they were still arrogant They still dismissed him. They still took off and floated away, presumably to their death. We're not necessarily sad about that because we don't like these people that much. We especially don't like them after this little thing they just did at the end that was racist. All of that was just to exemplify what a good person the doctor is, how he just is trying to help people, even if they don't deserve it, even if they insult him directly to his face. He's simply trying to say, I know I can save you, and I know if you go that way, you're going to die. Just come with me. You don't have to like me. You don't have to feel any good things about me. Just come with me so I can save you. And they still wouldn't do it. He was even pleading with them after Ruby gave up. I think that's supposed to speak to the doctor's character, but I think it's also supposed to mirror our frustration with these people, especially at the end where he just kind of throws his hands up at them. Because the whole time, at least for me in this episode, I was looking for a foothold. I was looking for somewhere to be like, okay, now I can feel good about these people. Okay, now I'm on their side. I thought it was going to be, and again, I'm already losing the names, but the guy that was dancing, the one that she idolized and stuff that she finally saw in real life, I thought that she would see him. He would help guide her through the thing. He revealed all this stuff to her about how he had been getting rid of his bubble for certain periods of time every day, and just reading and just being in his apartment. It was this big rebellious thing. It's almost a 1984 thing at that point, trying to move away from the surveillance. I thought that was going to lead her toward being more self-sufficient and not being as self-absorbed and arrogant. But all it did was reinforce the bad person that she is. She betrayed him. She left him to die. She sacrificed him so she could get away, even though he went through all of this to protect her. He didn't have to. He didn't stand to gain anything. He was just trying to be a good person. So we're obviously supposed to hate her by the end. And we're supposed to be frustrated by the end at how morally reprehensible people can be, but also just the stupidity of arrogant people. So I have to concede that in that respect, Russell T Davies, in writing this and the people producing it, in that respect, they succeeded in what they were trying to do. Was it an enjoyable episode? No. Was it supposed to be? No, I don't think so. Was it artfully created? Yes, it was. So I think I want to try to give it 3.5, but I think I'm going to have to stick at 3. And the reason I'm going to stay at 3 is because even though all of that is true, and even though you make a point, I don't know, it's tough. You leave an impression on your audience, you give your audience something new, but if you piss your audience off so much, I don't know if I can say that's a success, even if it was the intent. I've been through other things where I've watched movies or television shows that have put me through the emotional ringer, but I've come out on the end saying, I can at least appreciate how artfully that was done. When I think about this, it still makes me irritated. So maybe if you check back in with me at a later date, I would be willing to raise the rating more. But for now, it's going to be 3 stars. And I feel like I've rambled on about this long enough. So I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Yeah, hopefully the next one will be a different direction than this. That's all I'll say. But thank you for watching with me, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for listening to the I've Seen Everything reaction wrap-up. Again, to find these reaction and watch-along videos, please visit @SeenEverything over on YouTube. Please consider following the podcast, and for those on Apple Podcasts, a rating and review are always appreciated. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll meet you here on the next episode.